Girl, child, pull up a chair, grab that sweet tea, and get comfortable. Because I'm about to spill the longest, juiciest, most heart pounding tea you ever heard in your whole life. Mm hmm. This right here, it's the story of quiet little Amelia Brooks, who walked into courtroom 3B looking like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. But by the time she walked out, Lord have mercy, Derek and Rebecca was shaking like leaves in a hurricane. I'm talking full 5,000 word saga. Every single detail, every gasp, every side eye, every wait, then what moment. So you feel like you sitting right there on the porch with me, watching it all unfold. You ready? 'Cause once I start, you ain't stopping to the very last word. Let's go, honey. Okay, picture this heavy oak door of courtroom 3B creaking open real slow, like it's scared to let the truth walk in. Click, click, click. Amelia Brooks step inside on them simple black heels, navy dress hugging her curves just right, worn leather purse clutched tight in her hand. She looked every bit like the quiet, hard-working bookkeeper everybody in that small city thought she was. Beautiful dark skin glowing under them courthouse lights, hair pulled back neat and professional, brown eyes carrying 3 long years of quiet pain. But child, them eyes, they hiding a whole storm nobody saw coming, not even her own husband. At the plaintiff table sat Derek Brooks, tall, blonde, expensive suit tailored to perfection, like he the successful businessman he pretended to be. Next to him, his red-headed sister Rebecca, hair cascading over her shoulders like she in a damn shampoo commercial, leaning over whispering something nasty in his ear. Both of them turn and look at Amelia with that cold, smug little smile, like they already counting the money they about to steal from her broke behind. Rebecca even lick her lips real slow, eyes narrowing like a snake about to strike. Girl, I felt that shade from here. Amelia slid into her seat next to sweet old Mr. Peterson, her lawyer. He pat her hand gentle. Don't worry, dear. We'll get through this. He already warned her Derek's team was aggressive as hell, claiming she mentally unstable, unfit for any assets, got witnesses ready to lie, forged medical papers saying she needs psychiatric care. Amelia just nodded, heart heavy, expecting the worst. She ain't know yet that the worst was about to flip into the sweetest justice she ever tasted. All rise, the bailiff boomed out. The Honorable Judge Coleman presiding. In walked Judge Coleman, distinguished black man in his 60s, gray hair cut sharp, deep-set eyes that done seen every kind of liar, cheat, and fool cross his bench in 30 years. Derek requested him special, thinking a stern, older black judge would side with a concerned husband dealing with a crazy wife. Foolish. Real foolish, honey. Judge sit down, open that thick file, and then it happened. The file slip clean out his hands. Papers scatter everywhere like leaves in a windstorm. His mouth drop open. Whole courtroom go dead silent as a church on Monday. He's staring dead at Amelia like he seen Jesus himself walk through the door in a navy dress. Your Honor, Derek's slick lawyer Mr. Harrison say, voice confused. Are you all right? Judge Coleman slowly gathered the papers, hands trembling just a little. He clear his throat, adjust his glasses, but them eyes, they never leave Amelia's face. When he finally speak, his voice low and shaky at first. Could the defendant please state her full legal name for the record? Mr. Peterson stand up quick. Your Honor, my client is Amelia Brooks, married name from her union with the plaintiff, Derek Brooks. Judge Coleman cut him off, voice stronger now but still carrying something heavy. And her maiden name? Amelia feel every single eye in that room burning into her skin. Derek and Rebecca exchange confused glances. Rebecca's smug smiles start cracking at the edges like cheap paint. Amelia stands slow, legs a little shaky under that navy dress. Amelia Mitchell, Your Honor. The silence after that name drop? Whew, child. It was so quiet you could hear the air conditioning humming like it holding its breath. Derek's face go pale as milk. Rebecca grabbed his arm so hard her red nails dig in. Mr. Harrison looked irritated like somebody wasting his expensive time. Judge Coleman leaned back in that big leather chair, studying Amelia like she a whole puzzle he just solved in 1 second. Mitchell, he repeats slow, tasting the name like fine wine. And your father's name, Miss Brooks? Amelia's heart start racing like a drum in her chest. She ain't spoke this truth in 3 whole years. She left that life behind on purpose after the tragedy that tore her family apart. But she lifted her chin, voice steady even though her knees felt weak. My father is Thomas Mitchell, Your Honor. Gasps ripple through the gallery like a wave crashing. Mr. Peterson's mouth fall open so wide you could fit a whole apple in it. Derek looked like he about to faint right there in his fancy suit. Rebecca's face twists up like she just sucked the sourest lemon in the state. Judge Coleman say it like it's scripture, voice ringing through the courtroom clear and strong. Supreme Court Justice Thomas Mitchell. Boom, the bomb done dropped and the explosion still echoing. Derek jump up fast, voice cracking like a 13-year-old boy. Your Honor, there must be some mistake. My wife is just a bookkeeper. She told me her parents died when she was young. She ain't got no family money, no connections. Judge Coleman cut him off sharp as a knife. Mr. Brooks, it appears there are many things about your wife that you do not know. Amelia closed her eyes for half a second, feeling her carefully built simple life cracking open like an egg on concrete. But when she opened them again and see the pure panic washing over Derek and Rebecca's faces, Rebecca's red lips trembling, Derek's hands shaking on the table, a tiny quiet smile touched her lips for the first time in months. They thought they were stealing from a helpless little bookkeeper with no power. They had just poked the daughter of one of the most powerful legal minds in the entire country. And honey, the game was just getting started. Now let me take you all the way back, because you gotta feel how deep this knife went in before it got pulled out. 3 years earlier, before she became Amelia Brooks, the quiet bookkeeper balancing spreadsheets for small businesses, she was Amelia Mitchell, one of the brightest rising stars in American law. Harvard Law at 22, graduated summa cum laude with honors so high they had to invent new words for it. Clerked for a Supreme Court justice, argued 3 cases before the highest court in the land, and won every single one by the time she was 27. Legal journals was already calling her the next big thing, maybe even the youngest female justice one day. She grew up in that big, beautiful Georgetown mansion, Daddy Justice Thomas Mitchell teaching her and her little brother Samuel that with great privilege comes great responsibility. They had dinner table talks about justice, about using their gifts to lift people up, not step on them. But Samuel, Lord, that boy couldn't carry the weight. The cameras following them everywhere, the expectations of being Justice Thomas Mitchell's son, the constant pressure to be perfect, it broke him, slow and quiet. He started drinking heavy in college, dropped out of law school after 1 semester, tried business school, tried journalism, tried graduate studies in political science. Nothing stuck. He couldn't find his place in a world where being his daddy's son meant everybody expected greatness before he even woke up in the morning. Amelia tried to help, covered for him when he missed family events, made excuses when he showed up tipsy to political functions, even paid for several stints in rehab out her own pocket. But she was so deep in her own skyrocketing career, late nights at the firm, preparing for Supreme Court arguments, smiling for cameras. She didn't see how bad it really got. The night Samuel died, it was pouring rain like the sky itself was crying. He was driving home from their daddy's big 60th birthday celebration. Politicians, judges, media everywhere, flashing cameras. Samuel had been drinking all night. Amelia was too busy networking and smiling for pictures to notice how much he'd had. At 2 a.m., her phone rang. Samuel's car had wrapped around a tree on the George Washington Parkway. He died instantly. The media circus was brutal, honey. Headlines screaming, Supreme Court Justice's son dies in DUI crash. Dark side of legal dynasty. Pressure too much for Mitchell heir. They dragged the whole family through the mud for weeks. Amelia blamed herself every single day. Blamed the spotlight. Blamed the system that turned their private pain into public entertainment. 3 weeks after the funeral, she walked into her fancy law firm, resigned on the spot with tears in her eyes, sold her Georgetown townhouse, donated almost all her designer clothes and jewelry to charity, and disappeared. She legally changed her name back, but told the new small city she was Amelia Brooks, simple bookkeeper whose parents died young in a car accident. Moved 3 hours away, got a quiet job doing books for local businesses, rented a modest one-bedroom apartment with secondhand furniture, and for the first time in years, she breathed. No cameras, no expectations, just peace. Then one busy Tuesday morning in that little coffee shop on 5th Street, Derek Brooks walked up holding his coffee, flashing that charming smile and kind blue eyes. "Is this seat taken?" Tall, sandy brown hair, looking like the all-American boy next door. He was new in town, starting a consulting business. They talked for over an hour, easy as pie. He hired her to handle his books. He brought her coffee every meeting, made her laugh with silly stories about learning to run a business from scratch. He listened when she talked about her simple life. He called her real and genuine and said he was tired of fake women chasing money and status. 6 months later, he proposed on a picnic by the lake. Simple ring, simple words, simple romance under the sunset. Amelia said yes with happy tears streaming down her face. The wedding was small and sweet. Just the courthouse, a few of Derek's friends, and Rebecca as witness. Rebecca hugged her tight after the ceremony, red hair smelling like expensive shampoo. "Derek told me so much about you. You're exactly what he needs, someone real, not one of those fake women chasing money and status." First year of marriage felt like a dream come true. They bought a little house in a quiet neighborhood with a white picket fence. Amelia kept working her bookkeeping job, balancing numbers and feeling useful. Rebecca came over often for dinner and movies. They laughed, they cooked soul food together, they planned weekend trips to the lake. Amelia thought she finally found the peaceful, normal life she prayed for after Samuel's death. But slowly, the mask started slipping like cheap lipstick in the heat. Derek began asking little questions about her past that felt too pointed. "Any family money tucked away somewhere? Your parents leave you anything at all?" When she said no every single time, he looked disappointed, almost angry. Rebecca's visits got longer and longer. Sometimes Amelia would come home from work and catch them whispering in the kitchen, conversations stopping dead when she walked in. They claimed they were planning surprises for her, but something felt off, like a puzzle piece that didn't fit. The questions about money got bolder week by week. Derek started going through her mail when she wasn't home, checking her computer history, reading her emails while she slept. When he found her savings account, money she scraped together working 60-hour weeks living frugal, eating rice and beans some nights, he became convinced she was hiding a secret trust fund or inheritance from her dead parents. One night, Amelia came home early with a migraine pounding in her head. She slipped in quiet through the front door, planning to go straight upstairs for some medicine and bed, and heard voices from the kitchen, low and urgent. Rebecca, nobody just appears out of nowhere with perfect credentials and no past. She got advantages written all over her, Derek. The way she carries herself, the way she talks about money, that ain't a woman who grew up poor. Derek, maybe we wrong about this. Maybe she really is just what she says. Rebecca, voice cold as ice and sharp as a blade. She's your wife. Wives supposed to share everything with their husbands. If she hiding money, you got a right to know. If not, we cut our losses and find someone who actually has something to offer. I already got my eyes on a widow in Florida with real estate money. Amelia pressed herself against the wall right there in the hallway, barely breathing, heart slamming against her ribs like it wanted out. Her marriage wasn't love. It was a business transaction, and she was the bad investment they was about to write off. But the real knife, the one that went straight through her soul, came that rainy Thursday night exactly 2 years after Samuel died. Amelia worked late, finishing month-end books for 3 different clients. When she pulled into the driveway almost 10 p.m., Derek's car wasn't even there, even though he said he had an early day tomorrow. She let herself in quiet with her key and heard soft moaning, gasps, the unmistakable sound of 2 people lost in each other coming from the living room. Her stomach dropped to her feet. She crept toward the living room on tiptoe, heart pounding so hard she was sure they could hear it. And there they were on the couch, Derek and Rebecca, completely naked, moving together like they knew every inch of each other's bodies by heart. This wasn't a one-time mistake. This was long-term, familiar, practiced, passionate. God, I've missed you so much, Derek groaned between deep kisses. Having to pretend with her every single night is killing me, baby. Not much longer, Rebecca gasped, nails digging into his back. Once we get her committed, we'll have access to everything. And if there's nothing, at least we'll be rid of her for good. Committed? The word hit Amelia like a slap across the face so hard she almost stumbled. They wasn't just cheating. They had a whole evil, calculated plan. Fake doctor, forged medical records claiming she was unstable and paranoid, paid witnesses ready to lie, get her declared mentally incompetent so Derek could become her legal guardian, drain her accounts for her care, then divorce her while she locked away in some facility drooling on medication. If no hidden money appeared, just move on to the next mark, a widowed real estate agent in Florida they already had their eyes on. Amelia backed out to the house without making a single sound, tears burning her eyes, drove straight to a 24-hour diner, ordered coffee she couldn't even sip, and finally made the call she swore she'd never make again after Samuel died. Daddy, it's me, Amelia. I need help. Justice Thomas Mitchell listened without interrupting once while his daughter told him everything. The marriage, the affair, the plan to drug her and lock her up, the forged papers, the other victims. When she finished, the line was quiet for a long moment. Amelia, he said, voice thick with emotion but strong as steel. Do you want to come home? No, she answered firm, wiping her tears. I want to fight. But I can't fight as Amelia Brooks, the quiet bookkeeper they think they can destroy. I need to fight as your daughter. Then that's exactly what we're going to do, baby girl. The next morning, Amelia's old law firm got the call. Within hours, she had one of the most feared legal teams in the entire country assembled like an army. Margaret Chin leading criminal defense, former FBI agent Robert Torres on investigation, Dr. Elizabeth Warren as forensic psychologist, and a whole squad of constitutional lawyers who knew how to bury people like Derek and Rebecca 6 feet under with paperwork. While Derek and Rebecca kept planning how to drug her and lock her up, Amelia and her team were quietly building a fortress of evidence so strong it could withstand a hurricane. Hidden recordings of every disgusting conversation, photos of every forged document, bank records showing their pattern of fraud across multiple states, statements from their previous victims, including the grieving family of the woman who took her own life after they drained her dry and left her with nothing. They found out Derek and Rebecca had been running this romantic con for nearly a decade, targeting women they believed had hidden wealth, marrying them, draining them dry, then disappearing like ghosts. Amelia wasn't the first. She was just the latest in a long line of broken lives. On the morning of the court hearing, Derek and Rebecca strolled in cocky as ever, suits pressed, smiles fake, convinced they were about to win big and move on to Florida. Derek in his best suit, Rebecca in a power dress, both thinking the quiet bookkeeper was about to get committed and they'd walk away rich. They had no idea what was waiting for them behind those heavy oak doors. Judge Coleman entered the courtroom. The file slipped from his hands the second he saw Amelia's face. When he asked her maiden name and she said, "Mitchell," the courtroom exploded in whispers and gasps. Derek turned ghostly white. Rebecca looked like she might throw up right on the marble floor. Then the real demolition began. Margaret Chin stood tall and systematically tore their entire case apart like it was tissue paper. Dr. Patterson got exposed on the stand. His fake evaluation destroyed line by line, his history of disciplinary actions revealed in open court. The paid witnesses broke down crying and admitted Rebecca paid them cash to lie about seeing Amelia act crazy in public. The recorded conversations played loud and clear for everyone to hear. Every disgusting word about drugging Amelia, stealing her modest savings, moving on to the next victim. Federal prosecutors sat in the back taking furious notes, eyes sharp. Judge Coleman looked at Derek and Rebecca with pure, unfiltered contempt that made the whole room shiver. You targeted the daughter of a Supreme Court justice for financial gain. You planned to have her falsely committed to a psychiatric facility. You forged medical documents and suborned perjury. You have confessed on tape to similar crimes against other women. This isn't a divorce. This is a criminal conspiracy. He denied Derek's divorce petition cold, granted Amelia's counterpetition on grounds of adultery and fraud, awarded her every single marital asset, ordered Derek and Rebecca to pay full restitution plus massive punitive damages that would keep them broke for the rest of their lives, issued lifetime restraining orders, and referred the entire matter to federal authorities for criminal prosecution. Federal marshals cuffed both of them right there in the courtroom while the gallery watched in stunned silence. Derek's legs gave out. Rebecca was sobbing ugly tears, makeup running down her face. Derek got 8 years in federal prison. Rebecca got 12. The jury saw her as the mastermind who planned everything. Dr. Patterson lost his medical license and got 5 years. Their names became national shorthand for betrayal and greed. The media called it the bookkeeper who broke the con artists. 6 months later, Amelia, now Amelia Hayes, after marrying the kind, brilliant hospital administrator Jonathan in a beautiful but simple ceremony where her daddy walked her down the aisle with tears in his eyes, stood in the conference room of her new firm, Mitchell and Associates. She had started a foundation helping victims of romance and financial fraud. She spoke at law schools across the country. She helped pass better protections for vulnerable women. Her father reconciled with her fully, proud beyond words. Jonathan loved every single part of her: the quiet bookkeeper who just wanted peace, and the brilliant lawyer who refused to stay silent when evil came for her. They built a life full of purpose, laughter, and real love. Derek sits in federal prison today in an orange jumpsuit, finally understanding the woman he tried to destroy was never weak. She was simply choosing quiet, until he forced her to choose power. And every time he sees a newspaper headline about Amelia Mitchell Hayes winning another case for victims, he remembers the biggest mistake of his rotten life. He tried to break a Mitchell, and the Mitchell broke him instead. Girl, that's the full story. All 5,000 words of it. Every single tear, every side eye, every triumphant moment. From the quiet bookkeeper walking into court with nothing but pain in her eyes, to the powerful woman walking out with justice, love, purpose, and a whole new legacy shining brighter than the sun. Derek and Rebecca thought they picked an easy mark. Instead, they woke up the sleeping giant. And the giant? She ain't been sleeping since. Now tell me, child, you still breathing after all that? 'Cause I know my heart was racing the whole time I told you this tea. If you want me to add even more, the wedding night with Jonathan, the first time she spoke at a law school, how Rebecca cried in prison, or what her daddy said when they hugged for the first time in 3 years. Just say the word. I got more where that came from. But for now, sip slow, honey. This one was personal. Period.